There's a few universal things that I've picked up about scout mains over the years. There's a 100% chance that you hate the sound or even worse, the sight of seeing these. You're still learning your ABCs, which is a clever way of saying that you're probably still in primary or elementary school. You suffer from at least one, but potentially both of these. Half of your daily calories come from drinking nothing but Vs, and you definitely have no interest at all in getting one of these. Scout has the complete freedom to pick and choose his own fights on his own terms in most cases. Scout really is the king of 1v1 engagements. The combo of his speed plus the ability to double jump, which is unique to him, really does allow you to maneuver the map in a way that is pretty special and also pretty free, which is, I think, something that a lot of people can disregard about what really makes Scout so powerful. Scout, technically, in the hands of really good players across the board, is not the fastest class. Demo men and soldiers will usually always outperform Scout in terms of mobility when they are able to actually do it, though. And it's all about that consistency, which we did touch on pretty heavily in the previous Spy video, where we talked about what it is that actually makes a class really powerful. And that is what is their maximum potential in the hands of a really good player versus other really good players, and B, how likely is it and how often is that maximum potential going to be achieved and then also maintained in that scenario. Scout sits pretty similarly to Spy in a few of those senses, where when we look at what the maximum potential of the class is, it's actually probably a little bit lower than Spy. Scout takes typically a little bit longer to kill someone, relying on 2 shots for most classes, assuming that you hit them point blank, and then 3 shots for heavy. And even that's not very, very reliable consistently, even for the best scouts. You're not going to just be going around 2-shotting every class that you see and every player you see, regardless of how good most scout mains probably think that they actually are. And then when you go into casual games and you start factoring in random bullet spread, a lot of the time it doesn't even come down to how good you are. It can come down to a little bit of RNG. So Scout's maximum potential in the perfect lobby with the perfect enemies, just bots that barely even shoot back, whole bunch of gibbuses, party hat, manco cap gamers, we love them all. I would put Scout pretty comfortably in the middle of the 9 classes as to what his maximum potential is going to be. I don't believe that the maximum potential of the Scout is going to be anywhere near as high as the Soldier, the Demo Man, in the Spy, Sniper. I don't think it's going to be as high as the Medic. And the consistency just isn't there as well in 12 versus 12 casual settings. When you got so many players on the other team, there's just so much going on. This is probably not the best example of that, this gameplay in the background, because Upward is one of few maps in the entire game, I'd say, particularly in the payload rotation and very much so in the rotation of what I'd say are the popular maps, which Upward definitely is. But then you've also got like your Gold Rushes, your Hoodoos, your Dust Bowls, all of those, your 2-4, which are just terrible maps in general for Scout. If you're a great Scout, you'll be able to make it work. But when we all pull it back to what is the maximum potential and how reliable is it to achieve, and we start to look at the other classes in the exact same scenario, if we use the Soldier or the Demo Man example again, or even Sniper, you're going to be able to put any of those classes on any of those maps in any of those game modes, and they're always going to excel. They're always going to do what they're designed to do, and there's never going to be any real restrictions in place apart from what is the individual player's skill level and what is the skill level of the people that he's versing. Which is a pretty long-winded way of saying that Scout just doesn't quite have that level of consistency in a 12v12 casual setting. But then when we start to talk about competitive and we start to move away from the 12v12 Valve server casual setting and move into a 6v6 competitive format, all of a sudden we strip away the player count to 6 versus 6. We limit the game modes played to 5 CP and King of the Hill. All of a sudden we find ourselves in a position where we have everything that made the Scout so strong, but now it's magnified even further. It's enhanced even further by the lower amount of players that are on the server, and we completely eliminate anything that made made the Scout vulnerable and weak and inconsistent and unreliable in the first place, which just absolutely shoots Scout from where I'd say would probably be a high B tier class, maybe a mid B tier class, depending on the server, putting him right up there with the other generalist classes, Demo, Soldier, and Medic. That being said, what do I actually think about Scout as a whole across casual and competitive? I think he's a very different class in both of those formats. Speaking strictly casually, I don't find Scout to be one of the more enjoyable classes out of the 9. I just think that he's too restricted in what he can do on so many of the really popular maps. And those happen to actually be the maps that I mainly enjoy playing. Someone that's mained Demo Man for quite a long time, but has played my fair share of Scout, that probably definitely has something to do with the reason why I like those more congested, tunnely style of maps, is because you really can just spam those pipes, spam those stickies down the corridors and rack up 300 points on a 40-minute Dust Bowl game, which really is pretty fun to do. If you're looking to pick Scout up, I would really recommend that you play a lot of MGE, and he's kind of a class where he's pretty simple to understand as to how you get better. Your movement will naturally get better as you play the class more, and as you learn the maps more, that'll just naturally get better. If you come from any other FPS game where tracking is a big thing, I've seen a lot of Scout players that have come into TF2 that have Quake experience just absolutely tear up on Scout. If you're good at any of the Quake games, that'll probably jump you through quite literally probably about 2 years worth of experience just on Scout right then and there. So you'll definitely pick that up really quickly. And just if you're just someone that likes to run around and get lots of frags and not really think a whole lot, then Scout's absolutely going to be an amazing class for you to pick up. He's definitely not a class if you are thinking of just playing casually. I would recommend also learning how to play one of the other classes as well, like Soldier or Demo, or even Heavy or Engineer, Medic, really any of the other 8 classes, because you really do want something where when you do go into that lobby where they're just held up on last, where they've got 3 engineers just sitting there turtling away, you're just not going to be able to do anything. And at that point, unless you're happy with getting only a couple of kills every now and then on people that happen to wander too far away from those NG nests, you really do want to be able to, switch to one of those other classes and really just be able to contribute a little bit more to your team. I hope you guys have enjoyed that gameplay in the background. Since my first video, I have got a new microphone, so I've noticed a big increase in the audio quality. So hopefully that's a little bit clearer for you guys now. Also tried doing this video without using any kind of a script at all. Still definitely working on my pretty subpar editing skills, but hopefully they're going to get a little bit better as the videos keep coming out, and appreciate you guys watching. Cheers.